What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We're back with my guy Andrew Austin, and I seen this video. I was like, you know what? Let me check this one out because I seen a video talking about just the Dutch policemen and stuff like that. They were laid back, chill, cool, and it was like on some show. I forgot what it was called, but they would do it like, wait, ain't no crimes going on. Hey, you're not gonna arrest. But it was like it was so chill. There was no need for nothing to go down. Of course, every place there might be a need for something, but it was like more chill and stuff. I'm sure y'all see on the news American police and stuff, and some of the stuff we've been seeing over the past couple of years and stuff hasn't been good. My experience, I have gotten a speeding ticket and stuff, but nothing bad, nothing major, and working in education, got the chance to work with police officers and stuff when it comes to career day for the kids and stuff like that. So, but we finna learn, see the difference, different things like that. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button. Hey, send down those recommendations. And let's check it out. Let's check it out.
Let's talk about police, baby. Let's talk about you and me.
Not the
Hey
vocals.
guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you. And in this one, we're going to talk about policing in Sweden versus the U.S. Why police, for the most part, seem to be pretty well liked in Sweden as compared to the U.S. And we have to talk about this issue. It is brought up so many times. And I feel like the last 2 years, it's really been just on display about all the things that need to be worked out with in the United States. And there's a couple different factors that we're going to have to keep in mind here of why the police have a worse reputation in the United States. And so that number one, and the first I want to say too is I'm not a police hater. I think it's probably not a easy job. And
Right, yeah.
I feel sympathy with police being like a teacher. I feel like sometimes being a police officer must be like being like a teacher because you expect people to follow the rules. Sometimes they don't follow the rules, and then you have to go up from there. And I agree that it's much more dangerous. But one thing we always have to keep in mind with police, because this is the big elephant in the room that people don't want to talk about, which is that when you live in a society where literally anybody can have a gun and potentially be carrying a gun and armed, you're always going to have police that are going to be trigger happy, meaning they are going to mistake anything for being a gun. Because when you look at issues and things that happen,
that is true. That's a good point. People don't realize, because they might feel threatened for their life.
meaning they are going to mistake anything for being a gun. Because when you look at issues and things that happen with police and police encounters and videos, it's typically a normal traffic stop where something horrible can go wrong. And, it happens in Sweden too, but way less of a degree. And I think that's due to the fact that not many citizens in Sweden are armed and walking around all the time. And we don't have a lot of weapons in Sweden. Yes, we have shootings from time to time, and it has been getting worse over the years, but it's nowhere near the same level as the United States.
Right.
Now, first thing I talk about is being a police officer in Sweden is hard. There's such a need for police officers, and Sweden's working really hard to find more police, but they're just not out there yet. And so we have a police shortage. But Sweden didn't change the requirements to make it easier to become a police officer. So being a police officer in Sweden takes many, many years of training. In some cases, in many countries in Europe, it can take 2 to 3 years. And it's a high standard.
I feel like in the U.S., it's probably about, I knew somebody, they were going to police academy and stuff like that, but you know what? I don't think it took that long. Maybe a year or two, I would say. Maybe a year or two before they were really good, settled. But then again, is that what people are interested in wanting to be? I feel like most people see what's going on and be like, nah, I don't want to do that too sometimes.
In many countries in Europe, it can take 2 to 3 years. And it's a high standard. I have people I know who are trying to become police officers, and they have to pass all these tests and these exams. And some of the people haven't passed it yet, or they might have to test something over again. And it is much more of a challenge in Sweden to become a police officer. Where in the United States, because you don't have one central police force, the way we do police is very interesting. There can be county police, there's state police, there's federal police. That although police training in the United States can take a long time and be something that could take multiple years, because there isn't the same kind of regulations in place, in some cases you can become a police officer after 6 months, or maybe you worked in the military and then you can transition into the police force.
Yeah.
The problem with not having everything as a standard training means that sometimes people are going to become police too early. Like when we look at the example of the girl who used a taser instead of a gun, I find that to be such a mental error of not thinking, but something you would think somebody like that would get weeded out in the training aspect. If they can't even remember what's a gun or a taser, they probably...
Right, that is not good at all. You definitely don't want to confuse those two.
In the training aspect, if they can't even remember what's a gun or a taser, they probably shouldn't be in the police force. Well, I feel like there's a lot of police in the United States that maybe aren't super highly trained. They kind of went into this job and they never got weeded out. The problem has always been in the United States is it used to always be for like the last 10, 15, 20 years is if a police officer made a mistake in the United States and somebody got killed or something happened, the police officer always would get protected. It's important to go back to the Rodney King case where he got beat by police. And yes, he was a DUI and he was breaking the law and the police officers had to chase him down, but he got beat. And all those police officers got away without any charges for excessive force. And all the riots that ensued after that. There is a history of police in the United States covering things up. There's this case of a guy in Baltimore where he got apprehended by police, and then at some point while he was going to the police station, he ended up dying, and then it got swept under the rug. So now having this chance for people to film, you're seeing a lot of these techniques. And it seems to be this one case that in all problems I see in policing in the United States, and that is escalation. It seems to be that police do not...
I feel like they don't have the patience to de-escalate certain things.
I see in policing in the United States. And that is escalation. It seems to be that police do not have a lot of experience in actually de-escalating situations. And a lot of police officers keep raising the temperature up and actually probably doing the opposite of what they should be doing in certain situations. And you have police that are already trigger happy. Then on top of that, they just keep escalating and escalating. And I think a lot of cases... that's where these two things happen. And if we're also going to have to talk about like race relations and things like that, one of the problem with policing in the United States and in general is if you want to stop stuff in a high crime area, you have to have more police there. You have to be talking to more people and stopping more people. And it's a lot of these policing techniques that means that if you're an African American that grows up in maybe an area with high crime, you're going to be unfairly targeted by the police more. And we've known this. We've seen this in statistics. Like, as an example, white people on average use drugs more than minorities do. But yet minorities are targeted so much more. When you're targeting in these communities, a lot of times you're going to have people that are innocent that get caught into it. And that's another problem with policing is most of these stops where they find the big drug bust, where they do all this, happens in a regular traffic stop. And there would just be cases where
it don't even be nothing major. It's just that person just pulled over and complied, did whatever I'm pretty sure they knew if they got stopped, that was it.
All this happens in a regular traffic stop. And there would just be cases where police will pull you over for no reason. It's happened to me. I've been pulled over for an illegal reason, and the cop would just kept trying to search my vehicle. They harassed me. They breathalyzed me. It really gave me a negative view of the police for a long time, where if I saw a cop car behind me, I was so scared because this cop really overstayed his boundary. But everybody knew he was a bad cop. Everybody knew he didn't do things by the book. And I'm sure the police knew the same thing. Yet he was able to be in the police force for 10 years and scar people.
Crazy.
And I think that's the big...
And I feel like that puts a bad image on everybody. One bad apple, that's all it takes. One bad one. It spoils it for everybody.
Was able to be in the police force for 10 years and scar people. And I think that's the biggest issue here, is that we have to look at our policing and decide, what are we doing here? Is it doing more harm than good? Stop and frisk, I'll give you an example in New York City. Stopping random people and searching them for guns is something they do there. Again, black people tend to get stopped more than white people for stop and frisk. Is the amount of guns or weapons or whatever we're finding worth the potential harm that it's doing in the communities?
Right.
So a lot of people think moving forward, and I believe the same, I believe that we do have to have more mental health support, but I think it should be harder to become a police officer. I think we should focus on
Most definitely.
quality over quantity, and police officers should have to be held accountable. Think about it like I think about it.
Yeah, most if it take you a year or 2 or 3 to be a police, why the heck do it take me 4 or 5 years to get a bachelor's degree? Why do they expect me to get a degree in 4 years? Get a master's in another 2 years after that? 6 years, looking at 6 years. Then a doctorate's another year or two? You're looking like at 8 years of school just to get the highest level. But you can go be a police and hold a gun in 2 years? That's crazy to me. Then a doctor had to be in school long. So what, 8 to 10 years pretty much just to be a doctor? So I feel like police probably should have to do that too for it to be safer.
Harder to become a police officer. I think we should focus on quality over quantity, and police officers should have to be held accountable. Think about it like I think about it in my job. If I'm a teacher and someone else is the teacher and they're horrible being a teacher and the kids aren't learning, they shouldn't be allowed to just keep being teachers anymore.
Exactly.
They should be able to be held accountable.
And I agree with that because I work in education myself, and that's why I see some teachers. I'll be like, how they get this job? Because sometimes you're gonna get it. Then sometimes even first year teachers, I feel like first year teachers, that's a different story because it's their first year. They're trying to get to know, get the feel. Maybe they did the student teacher, maybe they didn't. But then you see some that been there for 10 plus years, and it's like, how are they teaching this long? How? Why?
They shouldn't be allowed to just keep being teachers anymore. They should be able to be held accountable based on how well that their students do to some certain degree. We need to have that for the police force. We need to be able to, and not every case does when a police officer make a mistake, that doesn't mean they have to lose their job, but they should just be held accountable just like everybody else. And if you're going to have a shooting, you're going to have to be able to talk about what happened. Now, I want to go off of one thing with this also, where I do think in Sweden, minorities do get unfairly targeted more if it's the same thing. If police are either in a high crime area or stopping random cars, a lot of times it's going to be the case that the minority is going to get pulled over or questioned more. So it has to do with how we handle non-violent crimes in our country, in a sense, in Sweden or in the United States, as far as I see that happening. But I will say overall, the Swedish police are less likely to cause a lot of unwanted deaths, but there was a big push for Black Lives Matter in Sweden, bringing up these issues. Either way, I think how we do policing is really important. I've had to deal with the police in Sweden and in the States, and they have both been very professional. The difference being was when I was in America, everybody knew who the bad cop was, everybody knew who the good cop was, and there was always some cops that are on a really big power trip that just want to yell and stuff. And I just don't think that that's beneficial overall. So moving forward, if we can increase how long it...
Especially, man, if you got a bad attitude, no patience, you shouldn't be doing that. That's just like with teaching. Like, you're a teacher and you don't have patience and all that, because you really got to be patient with kids. You shouldn't be teaching. Shouldn't be dealing with people in general if you ain't have no patience. Even if you're like a bartender, or even if you're a waitress, waiter, like if you can't deal with people, have patience, and do it, you probably shouldn't be dealing with people. Be behind the screen or something. That's probably.
I just don't think that that's beneficial overall. So moving forward, if we can increase how long it takes for someone to become a police officer, if we can weed out people in the United States that shouldn't be in the police force and hold people accountable. Hey, look, you had to use your gun in a life or death situation. We understand that, but can we look at everything that transpired to see if there's something you could have done, or to see if this was justified the way that you did the shooting? I'm not saying that I would want to be a cop in this current environment, but we have to recognize that we allowed it to get to this point, and with social media, the fact that people can just film something, bring a camera, it's just there's no denying anymore that it's happening.
Exactly.
I think the most important thing to do is to listen to people within our communities, because if people that are African American feel scared to get pulled over by the police, then we're making a failure somewhere, and we need to have police actually within the community helping out. We need to have programs in place helping the community and completely change the relationship we have with the
Exactly.
police, and also weed out the police that are always escalating situations and not looking for non-violent endings. And everybody knows police like that exist. I'm sure they do in Sweden as well, but they just get rolled out quickly, which is why the Swedish police are just more well-liked than American police. So I'm hoping that the United States can do the same. I'm sure I missed some stuff. Let me know what I missed here, and I will see you guys in
Yeah, y'all let me know too. Let me know too. But I definitely agree with a lot that he said. It definitely makes sense. But I feel like that's just how it is, and especially now, like with kids being on social media, they seeing this. Now they're getting the picture that police are bad. Police are this. They're not protecting us. They're killing us. They're not doing. So I feel like it's just different. It's just different nowadays. Cause when I was little, there kids used to always talk about, oh, I want to be a police when I grow up, firefighter, all these things. Like we wanted to be those community server type. But nowadays, I don't think. I mean, then again, too, most kids nowadays they want to be a YouTuber. They want to be what's the people that do the like Twitch and like gamers and all that stuff now. But yeah, it's just a crazy world we live in now. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think. The difference, even if you're not from U.S. or Sweden, y'all let me know. Let me know what you think. But it is different for me personally. I haven't had no bad experience because I try to avoid it. I feel like certain things can be avoided. Like I got speeding tickets before because I was speeding. But usually, if a cop behind me, I usually try to turn because I'm sure he's not coming my way. So I try to turn and do all that too sometimes because I'm like, I know I'm not. I know I'm innocent, but let me turn just in case, But shouldn't have to do that, right? Shouldn't have to. But that's all I have for this video, guys. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Send down those recommendations. Hey, and y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.